Hello everyone, I'm Mike Beltberger, and it's time to do the July 30th race recap for the Wingless Wednesday racing event at Shellhammer Dirt Track, located right off of State Route 61, 1 mile north of Leesport, Pennsylvania. The little track by the river, a 1/8 mile high bank dirt oval. Racing was going fine at the Shellhammer Dirt Track for Wednesday night, July the 30th, until Mother Nature decided to show up during the 7th lap of the first All-Star Slingshot qualifier, which was well into the racing program. Rain started coming down at 7:49. Dave Courtier Jr. and Willie hopped into the water trucks, did some track prep, and we were back racing at 8:15 for the conclusion of the All-Star Slingshot first qualifier, the remainder of the qualifying events. We took a brief intermission, and at 8:54 we were going green with the 270 micro main, and here's how things went for the 7 division racing last night at Shellhammer Dirt Track. First up, 270 micros, and at the drop of the green there was no denying the 36W of DJ Tanner. He was basically all alone. There was no challenges for Tanner, but behind him, second, third, fourth, and fifth, it was a lot of scrambling for different position swaps during the first couple laps. They only had one caution. That was on lap 13. We had a slower car about to get lapped. Really didn't know what lane to go in. Caused the second, third, and fifth place cars to tangle, putting them out of the top 5 on lap 13. And those 3 drivers were running second at the time was the 39M of Austin Miskowski. Running third at the time was the 45 of Matt McAnally, and Jarrett Imler in the 04 was in 5th. So they sort of got shuffled back to the rear. Had to restart to the rear after being involved in the accident. Again, it was a slower car, lap car, accordion effect accident, putting those 3 cars back in the field. But once racing resumed, again, DJ Tanner was not going to be denied the win. Strong run, though, for Dylan Caroni in the 53 to get second. Third was last week's winner, Chase Ziegenfuss, in the 52Z. Finishing fourth was Chris Dolan in the 16X. Chris was right outside the top 5, but inherited one of the top 5 spots after the 3-car tangle, and he did stay strong to get fourth in the 16X. And a strong run for Abby Witter. Abby started 11th in the 16W and put on a fantastic run, and actually the last 5 laps picking up a couple spots to get 5th. So the top 5 was DJ Tanner first, Dylan Caronia second, Chase Ziegenfuss was third, Chris Dolan was 4th, and Abby Witter was 5th. Again, only one caution slowing down the 20-lap racing event. Next up were the Stage 1 Modifieds for a 20-lap main event, and AJ Gerhardt had the S1, the Stage 1 Modified house car by Richie Smith. He wasn't going to be denied the win either. He got out in front. He had a couple challenges along the way. One was from Brett Smith. Brett was pretty close to getting by him, but just didn't have enough to get by. And then he was slotted to the back a little bit. He was involved in a tangle. He went to the rear but came through the field. But Dylan Hoke was running third, had a last corner pass coming down for the checker to just get by Jake Moyer, and the 35 of Dylan Hoke getting second. So getting the win, AJ Gerhardt in the S1, Dylan Hoke in the 35 was second. Jake Moyer held on in the 1M for third. Strong showing for Rich Keller in the 1K, getting 4th from his 8th starting spot. And getting the 5th spot was Brett Smith, who had to go to the rear, but Brett came through the field in the remaining laps to get 5th in the 25. Brett was also a feature winner at Shellhammer Dirt Track this year. Third class on the Speedway for their A-Main, 20-lap A-Main, was the 600 micros. Trevor Kobolars in the 5, finally getting into victory lane. Trevor was blistering through the field there. Fantastic run. He put the 5 on the bottom or the top. It didn't matter where he was going to go. That car was fast for the whole 20-lap distance. Only had one tangle in that event as well, but the racing was pretty good for the 600 micros. Getting second was Matt McAnally in the 37. Third, Damian Bauer in the 7.5. Actually, Damian was running second for pretty much of the race, and on lap 18, Matt made a nice pass, turn 3 pass to grab the second spot, and he held it on for the remaining 2 laps to get the second spot. Damian Bauer in the 7.5 was third. Easton Miller, the 17E strong run for Easton, getting the 4th spot. And finishing 5th was the G-man, Geezer Finelli. Geezer getting 5th in the G. Again, few limited cautions. 1 caution slowed the racing down, but Trevor Kobolars getting his first win of the season in the 5. Again, the top 5, Kobolars first, Matt McAnally second, Damian Bauer was third, Easton Miller 4th, and getting 5th was Geezer Finelli. Junior Slingshots had 3 race stoppages, but nothing of any serious incidents. Gavin Wolf was your lap 1 leader in a 23G, but that wasn't going to last long. Frank Fritzinger in the 51 found the low side, heading off of turn 2 on lap 2 to take the lead and not to be denied his first win of the season in the 51. Strong run by Frank Fritzinger. Getting second, coming from the 10th starting spot, was Aubrey Romig in the 35A. Aubrey looking pretty impressive. In fact, she was closing in on Fritzinger as the race was nearing completion, but did not have enough to get by. Strong run by Aubrey Romig for the second spot. Third, Cheyenne Snotterly. Cheyenne keeps improving week after week. Had the 5Fs in the top 5 for a nice third place run. Congratulations to Cheyenne Snotterly on their podium finish of third. Barry Seaman was one of the accident victims, had to go to the rear, but made his way through the field to get 4th in the 55B. And Nick Peters was actually running second, but on a restart, he got a little bit high going into 1, lost a couple spots, picked up a couple along the way, and finished a respectable 5th. So the top 5 again was Frank Fritzinger first, Aubrey Romig was second, Cheyenne Snarterly third, Barry Seaman 4th, and Nick Peters was 5th. Again, only 3 cautions, slowing down the racing action for the 20-lap Junior Slingshot main event. Next up, 125 micros. And taking the win was Seth Gregory. Shane Davis was actually leading pretty much of the race. In fact, he led the first 17 laps, but Gregory made a nice turn 4 pass to take the lead and eventual win. So Seth Gregory getting the win in the 14. Shane Davis still holding on for that second spot in the 13. Easton Miller coming from 6th to finish 3rd in the 17E. Mason Cantello in the 35 was 4th, and finishing 5th was the 112 of Dylan Yingst. So they had a couple of scrambles throughout the pack there, but a nice lap 17 pass by Gregory gave him the win over Shane Davis. 6th class on the track, All-Star Slingshots. And I believe they only had 2 cautions slowing down the racing action. 15 cars were entered in the All-Star Slingshot A main. Fantastic field of All-Star Slingshots at Shellhammer Dirt Track for July the 30th. And Haley Ero was not to be denied her 3rd win of the season. Looking strong early in the race. She had quite a few challenges along the way. Colton Williams got up pretty close to her when they were in slower traffic. Haley was sort of undecided on which way to go around the slower traffic, and Colton Williams made up a lot of ground in a 911C, but didn't quite have enough to get past. Jocelyn Durinsig, a strong showing in the 36 to get 3rd, and Darian Daniluk again putting the 72D in the top 5 with a 4th place run. Some fantastic run for the top 4. And getting 5th, Tess Horvath. She started 8th in the 42T. She was sort of outside the top 5 for pretty much of the race, but all of a sudden the last 3 laps she got by, I believe, 3 cars to put the 42T into the 5th spot. So again, it was Haley Ero getting her 3rd win of the season. Colton Williams was 2nd, Jocelyn Durinsig 3rd, Darian Daniluk 4th, and Tess Horvath getting the 5th spot. Final event of the night was the Junior Sprints for their 20-lap A-main event, and it was basically a family battle between the Ferriola boys. Andrew Ferriola in the 26 and Lucas Ferriola in the 75 were the front-running pair for 17 of the 20 laps, and it was a family affair right down to the end. But Andrew was not going to be denied the family win. He was the king of the night for the Ferriola family, getting the win in the 20-lap junior sprint in the 26. Lucas Ferriola was second in the 75. Caleb Mertz in the 21 comes across the finish line third. And Jackson Payero in the 36. Jay was fourth. Mechanical issues beset a couple of the drivers, so these were the final four that actually completed the 20 laps. Again, Andrew Ferriola first, Lucas Ferriola second, Caleb Mertz was third in the 21, and Jackson Payero in the 36. Jay was fourth. Even with the delay that we had from Mother Nature, we still got everything completed. After the 27-minute rain delay, the final checker was thrown at 9:54, and all the payouts were completed, and everybody was on their way home by 10:15. So if Mother Nature wouldn't have come barging in during the All-Star Slingshot qualifying event, we would have been on our way home by 9:45. So the Wingless Wednesday will continue back at Shellhammer Dirt Track on Wednesday night, August the 6th. Hope to see everybody there. Please have a safe and happy week. I'm Mike Feltberger. Thank you for watching, and see you at the Speedway.